All right, so welcome everybody. It's a great day to be on the New Bedford waterfront. I just noted that it's just interesting. It's the docks are actually kind of thinly populated right now, and won't be in 2 days. It's really a full armada of fishing vessels will be coming back in, as they always do, just before Thanksgiving, and so it's quiet, and so it's appropriate for a press conference. And so we have a terrific announcement today from the EPA, and representing EPA today is none other than Alex Dunn, the Region 1 Administrator. We hope that she'd be a Region 1 Administrator for a long, long time, but duty calls also. We won't go into that today, but in her time here, she's been a hugely valuable ally to New Bedford, the city, and New Bedford, the port, as well. She'll have an announcement to make today. And also joining us today, of course, is Congressman Keating, fresh off his re-election. Congratulations again, Congressman, who's been a big supporter of everything that we do here in the port of New Bedford, and also for a strong supporter of our strong relationship with the Environmental Protection Agency. I'm gonna more or less just introduce people today, Alex, and I'll save the punchline for you. But I did want to thank everybody who's present here. Janet Daisley from the Conservation Law Foundation. Somebody, the CLF is no stranger to New Bedford, and is an organization that brings a national perspective, and we often work very hand in hand with CLF. We welcome you today, Janet. And then, of course, Team New Bedford as well, our Director of the Port of New Bedford, Ed Washburn, our Director of Resiliency and Environmental Stewardship, Michelle Paul. Millie Garcia is here from DEP, the Regional Administrator. And then folks including Jonah Mikowitz from 41 North, which is a tug operation here in the port. I want to just welcome everybody. And Hugh Dunn, of course. Hugh, you're hiding way back there. Careful, don't get too close to the edge here, all right? Right?
Thank you for keeping track of that city council. I'm not your first in your thoughts.
Yes, first in the thoughts.
Wouldn't want anything to happen to them.
The first thing, I wake up in the morning and I say, how can I look out for the welfare of the members of the Bedford City Council? Hugh is a big supporter of our economic development efforts in the Port of New Bedford. We welcome him as well today. So New Bedford, let me just offer a couple of prefatory remarks. So the Port of New Bedford is America's biggest and busiest commercial fishing port. Even on a dull day like this, it is still a beehive of activity. We have, and I was just telling Alex that there are over 300 active fishing vessels here in the port, and another roughly 140 or so out-of-state vessels that land here every year. So roughly 500 vessels that land in the port every year, compared with there really isn't any other comparable port on the East Coast in terms of fishing. But we're also a place where we have a growing cargo port, especially for break bulk cargo from places like North Africa, as well as a very large and growing recreational port, as well as what we are having greater confidence in saying this, are about to become the launching pad of the American offshore wind industry. So there's a lot that's happening here, and so the level of activity raises a number of management and operational issues, including air emissions, air and oil emissions in the harbor. And so these are issues that we've worked hard on in the last few years. We want to make sure that we have an industrial port that works for all the folks who are in business here, that it be commercially competitive, but we also want to make sure that at the same time that that its environmental footprint, the environmental externalities of the fishing industry and all the others here are managed as well. And we think that the two go hand in hand. Having a clean harbor, both in terms of the water and the air, is important to economic competitiveness. And so, it's in that context that we have today's announcement from the EPA about this important first step. And so I just want to say, first off, thank you to the agency. Thank you to Alex and for her exceptional leadership in Region 1, our whole team here at the Port of New Bedford, the Congressman, as well as our partners at DEP, and from 41 North. Joan has been a great partner in a lot of the things that we've been trying to do here, but we're excited about the announcement today and how it'll advance environmental stewardship in the port and make our port even a little bit more commercially competitive. And with all that, let me introduce Alex Dunn, Region 1 Administrator, at least for the time being, no jinxing there, to address the audience. But I hope this is your last formal appearance here. This will not be your last time in New Bedford, I know, because she's drunk the Kool-Aid. She digs us a lot.
I do like
but I just want to say it's been a real pleasure working with Alex over her time as Region 1 Administrator. She really knows what she's doing, and it's easy to see why that she's being looked at for higher positions elsewhere. So with all that, Alex,
Thank you.
you can have the punchline.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you so much.
You bet.
Well, thank you, Mayor Mitchell. What a nice introduction. And you're right. I did drink the Kool-Aid. I am a fan of this wonderful city, and I enjoy telling people about how much I've seen here and your vision for the city, with the support of your council, of course. Yes. And really just seeing so much redevelopment. I've been out to the Superfund site here a number of times. Acting Administrator Wheeler came out. We announced the 1 year of our Superfund task force work here in New Bedford. So this has really become an important place for us to celebrate accomplishments in the New England environment. Really want to thank Congressman Keating for being here and congratulate you as well. And also Abby Weber from Senator Warren's office. Glad that you're here. It's so important when we have our congressional advocates with us for these events, because as much as EPA loves to come and make announcements about giving out grants, the only reason we're able to do that is because of the work of our delegation in Washington, advocating for EPA to receive the funding in the appropriations process. So what we're able to bring back here to New England is the result of the hard work of our delegation in Washington, and we greatly appreciate it. So we also want to thank Janet Daisley, who's here. You'll hear from her and her role here at CLF Ventures, the folks from 41 North, Jonah Miktowitz, thank you for being here. And of course, we have our great partners to the State Environmental Protection Agency, Millie Garcia-Serrano, Mass DEP. Thank you so much. So, I guess enough drum roll here. What are we here celebrating, right?
Long wind up.
The long wind up. It better be good. Well, it is good. It is good. We're here on behalf of the EPA to award CLF Ventures with a diesel emission reduction grant. DERA, D-E-R-A, is the acronym for the program, for nearly $580,000. This is a competitive national grant. Whenever you say competitive and national, it means that there was a limited pot of funding and that you all really put in a great proposal that rose to the top. So congratulations. So under this competitive national grant, CLF Ventures will be working with the folks at 41 North to do something really incredible. They're going to be installing upgraded marine engines on a tugboat based right here out of New Bedford. So everyone says, what does that mean? Well, as you heard from the mayor, we really need to think about working ports and the fact that they provide wonderful economic opportunities, but also have environmental impacts. And older diesel engines emit large amounts of pollution, nitrogen oxides, and particulate matter. These pollutants can aggravate asthma. They can also affect lung tissue, and cause other serious health problems, particularly for our most vulnerable population, our children. So the Northeast has some of the highest asthma rates in the nation, including a childhood asthma rate that is above 10% in all 6 New England states. So everything we can do to reduce emissions in the environment, in the air, can really affect the health of our children. This diesel grant funding will definitely make the Port of New Bedford a healthier place with cleaner air. So specifically, and I'm sure we'll hear more from Janet, CLF Ventures will be using this funding to install 2 EPA certified Tier 3 marine propulsion engines and 4 EPA certified Tier 3 marine auxiliary engines on a tugboat that's managed by 41 North. So we are really excited about this. This is the type of change that people don't hear a lot about, but it makes a real difference in air quality. We are really, really excited about working with the community here and about working with CLF, one of our important environmental groups. I mean, this grant here is really a true example of the kinds of partnerships that make things work. We have to have local support. We have to have our congressional support. We have a local business here in 41 North, and we have a major environmental group working with us all together. So you put all those things together and you get an environmental success story, and EPA is really proud to be a part of it today. With that, I'm going to turn it to Congressman Keating to say a few words. Thank you all.
Well, thank you, Alexandra, and thank you for all your efforts. We know here in New Bedford the effects of climate change. We're a coastal city, and we understand the effects day to day and the long-term events. We're here today because of the Diesel Emissions Reduction Act and the $40 million in grant funding that's there nationwide. So you get a sense how competitive this is all across the country and how that pool of money gets distributed. This is something that the city has as a priority. This waterfront development is a priority of Mayor Mitchell's in every respect. The port is here being represented as a partner. 41 North because of the boat itself, as well as the City Council here with Hugh Dunn coming forth with a combined effort of the importance of this region for the city and the region, because this is a critical investment here in the waterfront, not just for New Bedford, but for the surrounding region as well. An active, thriving, healthy port is going to benefit everyone in our area. We're joined too with our Region 1 Director, Alexandra Dunn, and what a great luck, the lottery we had in terms of who was selected to represent this region. She has a lifelong commitment to these environmental issues, not just in her current capacity, but before that. And that shows through with the enthusiasm and the leadership that she's shown in this area. So it's great to be partnering again. And Conservation Law Foundation, an old friend of mine over when I wore many hats, and Janet Daisley, thank you for being here along with 41 North, being a partner. See, this is a public-private event. It's actually a great example of public-private partnerships because these grants will go respectively to 40 to 45% of the funding for this, but you need the other part to make those grants successful and to move forward. And that's something that really is the benefit of everyone that's here creating that kind of competitive grant. This is going to have a significant effect. We're talking about just 6 engines, 1 tugboat, but just to give you an idea of the effect of this in modernizing, this will result, when it's completed, in over 5.5, almost 5.5 tons of emissions being taken out of the environment here. An amazing number annually, each year, that much taken out. That's the importance of doing this. This is something we have to continue to do, not just in this region, but around the country, and we can see the dramatic effects of doing that. And this is a win-win for everyone involved. It's a win in terms of cleaning up our air. It's a win in terms of the New Bedford community in terms of having a healthy community. It's a win in reducing healthcare costs, and it's a win economically because this will result in lower fuel costs and a more efficient economy here in the waterfront. We're able to be here and know that as we go forward, generation to generation, this will be one, I hope, of many efforts to try and create this iconic setting here in New Bedford in a working waterfront and combine that with economic activity and growth going forward. So it's a great day in that respect. It's meaningful and there's a lot of work to be done implementing this, but also I think this starts us on a path of being really a leader around the country here in the waterfront setting of how to improve the economy and at the same time help our environment. So it's a great day for New Bedford.
Great.
No one is more thrilled than me to be here today from the Conservation Law Foundation. I'm Janet Daisley, the Deputy Director. And I'm really thrilled to have the faith of the EPA in us to steward these funds wisely. This is we've had 5 prior grants, so we're thrilled to be seen as an environmental nonprofit organization that will steward these funds wisely. And I'm so grateful for the support and appreciate, as we both have all said, this public-private partnership that includes private sector partners who are really going to help us with the environment and increase jobs. Our CLF Ventures is an arm of the Conservation Law Foundation. As many of you know, CLF is an environmental advocacy organization, and our arm of the organization really works to promote public-private partnerships to promote environmentally beneficial projects that are both sustainable and environmentally viable, which is really thrilling today. We are really committed as an organization to protecting New England's environment for generations to come, and this grant is really an opportunity and a step along the way to make that happen, so it's thrilling. We're really proud of our successful track record to really think about how we retrofit these fantastic marine vessels, and really thrilled to have another opportunity to do so. We really do, as everyone has said, this is really an air pollution reduction opportunity, but it's also married by thinking about economic development and maintaining jobs here in this part of the state, and we're really thrilled that it'll be happening here in New Bedford. And the tugboat, the Kodiak, is actually out working. I was talking to my colleagues at 41 North, and that tugboat is out there supporting economic development activities as we speak today. So that's pretty thrilling to know that it's out there and soon will be retrofitted with these new engines. So I just really want to say thank you. We're really thrilled to be part of creating healthier communities in a city as vibrant and as wonderful as New Bedford. So we're so happy this is going to be taking place here, and really look forward to our continued partnership with the EPA, with our government partners, and with our private sector partners. So thank you so much for this incredible opportunity.
Good, John.
Thank you, Janet. Mayor Mitchell, Ms. Dunn, Congressman Keating. On behalf of 41 North, we would like to express our appreciation at the opportunity presented by this grant. This type of a grant is something that without it, repowering of our tug, the Kodiak, wouldn't be possible. Not only is it going to help improve the environmental aspect of our operation, but it's also going to help from a job creation standpoint, supporting everything from the engine suppliers to the shipyards. They'll be doing the work on the tug. Tug does primarily works from New Bedford Harbor. However, it really has an impact on the entire EPA Region 1 as the tug works throughout the region. So on behalf of my partner, Matt Fisher, and myself, we appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. That was this is a really terrific project. Millie's going to say, oh, Millie, sorry. Sorry.
No, no big deal. How
Sorry,
are you?
Millie, sorry.
No, please. Good
Don't hold it
morning.
against me, Millie.
Oh no, of course. I just want to say congratulations to CLF Ventures and 41 North. On behalf of the Baker Polito administration, we are so happy to be here. Secretary Beaton, Commissioner Suberg, truly it's an honor to be here, and we're very happy and excited for the new venture that you're about to embark on. Clearly, through the Global Warming Solutions Act, that's an act that sets out a very aggressive schedule to deal with the emissions and the issues that are germane to clean air and healthier outcomes. This is one great opportunity to make that happen. Clearly, all hands on deck when it comes to such a complex problem that it pertains to air quality and setting out and reaching the goals that have been set out for us. So on behalf again of DEP, please count on us. We're so excited. Congratulations to you, 41 North. Congressman, thank you for your support, unwavering support. And it's always a wonderful day to be here in New Bedford with the great leadership of our Mayor Mitchell, and Alexandra Dunn, Administrator Dunn. Thank you, congratulations, and best wishes. We're here to help you every step of the way.
All right, thank you, Millie. All right, questions? Taylor, fire away.
How many tons of emissions the Bedford Harbor puts out annually?
That is, I'm gonna have to phone a friend for that one, Taylor. Ed, do you have that top of mind?
A lot.
A lot. Yeah. Taylor, you got to start somewhere, right? You got to start a lot. Yeah, so you got to start somewhere. I mean, part of the idea here is, and you guys weigh in, is, you know, this is an exemplary project, right? In many ways, this is, you know, we've been chipping away at this. A number of fishing vessels have retrofitted their engines over the years, and so, you know, the goal is to, you know, to operate as efficiently or even more efficiently, but with fewer emissions over time. And this project's I think just sets a really good example for everybody else. Anybody else, Mike?
What will they run off of now? How the engine powered now?
Well, it's powered up. Well, it's powered off of diesel now. Well, it was powered off of diesel. Go ahead, Jonah.
Will they be powered off of, I guess?
There'll still be diesel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just be efficient.
Okay.
And we were just noting back here that this is the 6th grant to CLF Ventures for tug retrofits. So we had an estimate for this tug, and then if we
Different boats, yeah.
different boats,
Yep.
but you can imagine the cumulative effect, at least in tonnage,
Yep.
from those grants.
Yep, the last one was for Boston Harbor, a fleet in Boston Harbor, another one doing the ferry across to Long Island. So.
You know, there's certain parts of, modules of transportation that really have a multiple effect in terms of so, you know, ships, marine technology, and transportation. Believe it or not, school buses and other areas. There's federal grants for all of those to try and not only create an environment where they're going to be replaced, but also because they are the biggest polluters.
It's been a focus of, you know, lowering emissions in the port. You can see we have shore power on this pier and on the steamship pier and coal pocket pier. Those have been projects both through CMAQ and through Diesel Emissions Reduction Act that we've installed over the last 10 years to lower the emissions in the port in terms of all these fishing vessels.
The next step now is to work together with MassDOT and other entities in the region to deal with the particular emissions emitted by just our very own cars. So that's another challenge.
What's the advantage to outfitting one vessel and giving the grant money to one foundation to work with this group for one vessel rather than giving maybe other breaks to other vessels and their companies strutting that well run?
Do you want to address that?
Well, it's also economic. This is so expensive. As I mentioned, the federal side of this, through the Diesel Emissions Reduction Act, that only represents 40 to 45% on the two things of the amount. So the other portion, it has to come from the private side and private side partners. They're not always willing or able to come up and do that. But we're doing it on where you have that matches. The Steamship Authority, for instance, has done some of this as well. So this is important. These are the big polluters. And really, it's meant if we can have more grant money in Washington coming out, that'll encourage more people to go forward, because in the long term, this will save money on the fuel cost and be economically beneficial to the private side. So you have to have partners coming forward, and we're fortunate to have partners here with the Ventures and 41 North that were able and willing to do it. This will encourage more people to do it. But to spread it out thinly won't have any effect, because it just economically wouldn't work.
I guess I would just add it's a competitive grant process, so we were one of the competitors. So there are other people out there, as John knows, you might want to talk to him a bit about it too, who could come forward and apply as well with their ideas.
What's the total cost of outfitting the tug?
It's just under
Okay, someone could do the math. That's 40%.
1.2 million, and the grant is for just under 580.
So you can see the contribution that's coming from our partner,
Right.
private sector partner. It's big.
Are there other ways, this might be a question for 41 North, that it'll kind of boost the economy, as you kind of said? What kind of economic effect will this have, and how will it kind of affect the economy?
Sure. So through the process, the retrofit process is a months-long process. So right from there's some stability analysis that has to be done on the vessel, supporting the naval architect, the removal of the engines, all the retrofit work in the shipyard, the installation of the new engines. It's a very shipyard-intense process, and then ultimately the purchasing and the commissioning of the engines, the transmissions, the generator sets. That's all supporting those suppliers and vendors, and then the follow-up after as well. Current engines, there's no real supply network for support. So locally, the new engines are much tighter local support network.
Well, so to get at your question too, Taylor, about sort of the scope of the effort. As I said, I mean, this is intended to be exemplary, right? We want more participants, more applicants to have, to avail themselves of the grant funds. But, it's happening in the context of many other efforts to reduce emissions. So if you look up and down the berth right here, you see all these white consoles, right? So those have been placed here and on a number of the other municipal piers over the last few years, and the connection to emissions is this. Those enable fishing vessels. Those are outlets in effect, and they allow fishing vessels to run their generators without running their engines. When they run their engines, they emit diesel emissions, right, which we're trying to reduce. When we've electrified all the piers in the last few years, we've obviated the need for them to run their engines 24/7 to keep the lights on, to keep other systems on. So that helps as well. So every little thing, we're chipping away at it. Today's effort, today's announcement is another step in that general direction.
And as I mentioned, Taylor, too, there's other benefits to this. It was mentioned the correlation between this and asthma and other conditions. The cost of treating that, there's significant healthcare costs in dealing with this. And as Janet mentioned, too, there's a lot of people in line in a very competitive process that would like to move forward with this. As more funds are there, they'll be able to take advantage of that, and we'll have benefits that not only help economically, because we'll have businesses that are going to be able to do their job more efficiently and save money and be more cost effective, but also in terms of healthcare costs. So that's when I said it's a win-win situation. You don't always see all the benefits of this, but believe me, this is a multiplier in terms of the effect of, in terms of everyone's economic and healthcare costs and their personal health issues.
All right. Is that it, John? Doug? Okay. Yeah, we'll be around if you guys have any other follow-up. But thank you again for everything. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thanks, everybody. Nice job.
I was so thrilled.
Yeah, it's so exciting.
So exciting. Mr. Mayor, it was great.